joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show to kick off hour number 3. It was the man I think I had third on my list of the most impressive performances of week number 2. And I'm not just saying that because he's listening to me introduce him right now, but also not saying that either because he's on my fantasy team that I need a huge week from him for. Brian Robinson Jr. of the Washington Commanders here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Brian?
I'm great, man. How you doing?
No pressure. I need a big week. I got to have it. Brian. I got to have it.
I understand, man.
How often do you hear that sort of stuff from people, Brian?
Pretty often nowadays. I guess I didn't pay much attention to it last year, but I'm starting to hear a lot more about it now.
Okay. Well, I got to be honest with you. And again, this might not be professional. You have to pay attention to this. You have to focus on this sort of thing. You got to. Okay.
I got to focus on performing also.
Well, I mean, it's a win-win is what I'm saying. You win, I win. I win, you win. You know what I'm saying? It's all together. Tell that to Rivera. Actually, no. Tell that to Bieniemy. He'll understand. You tell that to Eric Bieniemy. Rich Eisen says, I've got to get the ball for his fantasy team. Will you please do that for me, Brian? Will you please?
He probably get on me dirty about that. Like, hey, look, I know how EB is, man. He gonna be like, I know you ain't coming to talk to me about no fantasy right now.
Is that the way it would go?
I'm pretty sure it probably go a lot more like worse than that. I'm trying to be professional.
Understood. There is a family audience that is listening and watching us right now, Brian, and I greatly appreciate that. And honestly, when that whole stuff about Eric Bieniemy came out, if you will, during training camp at the end, saying maybe some players on Washington's roster might not be taking his coaching or his hard coaching too well, I thought to myself, it cannot be the guy that was coached by Nick Saban. That cannot be that guy, right, Brian?
Definitely not. Me personally, I never was a guy who complained about, his coaching style. That was even before we really even got a chance to even know, more about him. We were just kind of getting to know him, which we still are kind of getting to know him now. So I'm not sure who made those comments. And, like you said, I played under Saban. I played under a bunch of different coaches under Saban and his staff. So, pretty familiar style with his coaching, very, very hard. That's something I appreciate, though, because it'll just make me better.
Well, I mean, and I was familiar with it, too, Brian, because years ago, way back when you were probably in high school in Tuscaloosa, or even before that, getting ready to do your thing on a football field, we had a feature on NFL Game Day Morning on NFL Network, and I watched him coach Adrian Peterson hard in a way that I was kind of shocked. Like, this is when Adrian Peterson was doing the, Adrian Peterson stuff. So I think he saves a special bit of oomph for the running backs. How does he coach you? What can you give me as a for instance, Brian?
He holds me very accountable. Probably, maybe more accountable than anybody on that field, and he just makes sure I'm I pay attention to all the details. Just perform and do everything he needs me to do to be a great all around back. And I appreciate everything he's instilled in me for real. Because it's done nothing but just help me, just add more and more to my game and just, build confidence in, the certain things that, he believe in that I can do and just give me the opportunity to go out and show it. So, and I came to him and I asked him, I was like, you did coach, AP in his prime. And he said, yeah. And I'm like, it just give me a perspective on, what type of guy he is, what type of guys he coached. And, I just had to understand that, he's been here, he's coached some of the best guys. And, I just got to, take it.
So you have obviously, and you've taken it and you ran with it. You also caught it. You had a terrific game in Denver. How did you approach that game in a way that you think might be repeatable, if not just this week, but for the rest of the season, Brian?
I just approached that game like I approach any game, like just hard nose. We didn't start off fast. We started off very, very slow. And which we had, kind of did this the first week versus Arizona. We started off very, very slow. And, I just had one of those second half stints where, I was counted on, coach put the ball in my hands and, it was, critical times for me and my offense, just make plays. And, that's what I had to do, So really just going into this game, I plan, I want to start faster. start out the game faster and, end the game strong as well.
Well, I mean, this is the latest example, I think, outside of the building, if you don't mind me saying, Brian Robinson Jr., that folks might be overlooking, saying the Commanders aren't all that. They're 2-0, but here come the Buffalo Bills. What are your 2 cents on that, Brian?
I mean, everybody got their own opinion. It is what it is. People going to say, they're going to doubt us until they see it. So, the biggest thing for me, is just make sure, I'm doing everything I got to do to prepare like I want to win and make sure my team is on the same page as well. And like I said, they're going to continue to doubt us and say, what we are and what we can't do until we show them. So the biggest thing on my mind is just going out and putting it on display.
Brian Robinson Jr. of the Washington Commanders at 2-0 for the first time since 2011, taking on the Bills this weekend right here on the Rich Eisen Show. When was the first time you realized you could do this at a level that was elite, Brian?
Honestly, I think just playing at Alabama, and playing with a lot of guys that eventually go off into the league. Like year by year, you have guys who go out to the draft. Some get drafted very high, some get drafted, whenever. And, they go out and they have the success at the next level. And you think about, how much y'all polished each other up and, made each other better during school. And you just, just also help you build confidence, seeing those guys on TV, making plays and performing at that next level, before you kind of step up into that level. And, once I got here, I see a lot of familiar faces, guys I played against while I was in college. That's also been having success in this league. So I just got to continue to compete, at the same level that I competed, before I got here, and I would be able to have success at this level.
So you're from Tuscaloosa, correct? That's where you're from?
Sir.
Did Auburn
sir.
Did Auburn ever have the temerity to knock on your door and say, "Come here"? Brian?
They did try to recruit me, but that was a very boring recruiting process.
Oh.
I didn't really give it any attention. I didn't show them like any mind, during that whole process. Like I knew that wasn't the school that I was going to, go to.
Why?
Just growing up in Tuscaloosa, I always been like, diehard Alabama fan. I always knew if I had an opportunity to play under Saban or play for the Tide, that's what it was going to be. And with Auburn being the biggest rival that it always been to Alabama, I just didn't see that happening for myself just because I didn't feel like, I would be happy and comfortable in Auburn. I probably would have went somewhere else outside of, the state of Alabama if it had came down to it.
But it didn't come down to that, right? It didn't?
No.
Okay. Saban showed up in your living room, Brian?
He definitely showed up. He showed up.
Oh, what was it like having him there? Walk me through that.
It was great. Saban, he showed a lot of interest in me over those years, recruiting from like, the end of my freshman or mid-sophomore year all the way up until I signed. He came and he visited home. He came and he visited school. He called me down to campus numerous times just to see my face, to have me around. And, that was more than enough for, what I need. I didn't even need that much because I was just so excited to have the opportunity. So with him going out his way to, show that he was, interested in me, that was icing on the cake.
Okay. I'm going to ask you the question I have asked literally every Alabama Crimson Tide player I have interviewed on this program that has played for Nick Saban. I've asked this of Tua, Mac Jones, Will Anderson. I can go right down the list, and now I'm going to ask it of you, Brian Robinson Jr., the angriest, the most upset you've ever had Nick Saban with you and at you is what? Tell me that story.
Saban had to discipline me a couple times over the years. I wasn't perfect. I probably upset him the most when the vaccine came out. I had made comments about it, and he didn't like it because he thought I was influencing the locker room. And he gave me an earful as soon as I walked out on the practice field. So
what about on the field? On the field, any moment that you ever made him upset, Brian?
I mean, it don't take much. It don't take much, kind of get under his skin and upset him. I think probably the most upset I did make him was in a playoff game. My sophomore year, it was in a playoff game versus Oklahoma. We was playing them in Miami. And me and Josh Jacobs was back deep to return, and they had kind of kicked a high kick that was to my side, and I had like put my hand up as if I was going to receive it without like saying fair catch.
Yes.
But they called it fair catch. they called it a fair catch. So like we didn't get the return, which was set up to be like almost a 80-some yard kick return to the house. So we didn't get that return off. And like he gave me an earful because, I guess he was just like, that wasn't the best communication. We left points out on the field, it was just a time in the game where we needed a spark. And I feel like with me calling that fair catch and not being able to get that kick return going, he was very upset about that at the time.
Okay. So that means you were never the recipient of a D's nuts joke from him, Brian?
Oh, that's something that's just kind of common in practice. Like he sometimes he's in a good mood and he's in a joking mood and he'll crack a joke or two. And when he crack a joke, he better laugh. He expect you to laugh. He expect you to laugh.
Is that right?
Yeah. Like
so he gets upset when he's joking and you don't laugh at his material? Is that what you're saying?
You could tell by his body demeanor that like that was a joke. You're supposed to laugh.
I love it. It's kind of like a stand-up comedian or a comedian. Like, it's my material. You should laugh. I mean, I just love hearing stories about him and what's going on at Alabama. And obviously, there's a big game against Ole Miss this weekend. And I appreciate you sharing those stories. Before I let you go, Brian Robinson Jr., have you met Magic Johnson yet? Have you crossed paths with him?
Yes, I have got a chance to meet Magic.
Okay.
Probably twice now.
Okay.
What's that? Pretty cool guy. Pretty cool guy.
Yeah.
I love his mindset. Real great mindset. We got a chance to ask him some questions, based off of his history in the league and, some of the greats he played around and kind of how different those guys' mindsets is. He played with Kobe and LeBron and all those guys. And, he knows he's more familiar with what kind of mindset those guys, have and, what's different about those guys. So it's good to kind of get that input on, what makes guys great and lead and, at that level.
Okay. And then, obviously his business acumen is second to none. Brian, have you talked to him about the big hats? Have you talked to him about the big hats?
I have not got a chance to talk about the big hats, but I heard the big hats starting to do a lot of big numbers nowadays. And
okay.
I might need to get some information about that, honestly.
You should definitely talk to him like it's Shark Tank. Next time he's in, you should pitch him on the big hats and all that sort of stuff and get him in on the big hat game. I mean, he's Magic Johnson for crying out loud,
Right.
Well, and you certainly maybe you should give one to your quarterback. I don't know, if you want to chime in on this front. We're a little bit confused here because Sam Howell, if he wants to be elite, Brian, needs to have elite quarterback hair. And I don't know what's going on here. Is this the way he looks all the time, Brian? Right there? No? Is this the way he looks all the time, Sam Howell?
Man, that's Sam, man. That's my guy, man. Hey, look, he ain't the type of guy that sit up in the mirror and try to comb and pick out his hair and make sure he looking all pretty, man. My guy want to come play ball, man. He put his hard hat on and go to work, man. That's my guy.
Looks like he rolled out of bed, Brian. I'm not going to look. Trust me, I'm not someone to talk, but I'm focused on this sort of thing about hair, and I'm like, I'd love to do that. By the way, is just to have that sort of head,
I'll take somebody who rolls out of bed and be ready to play, then roll out of bed and got to take 20, 30 minutes to fix their hair before they get ready.
Okay. Sold. All right, Brian, what a pleasure to chat with you. I appreciate the stories that you're sharing. But again, got to have it this weekend. I'm 0-2, the exact opposite of your team. Got to have it. Got to have it. And then I need you to tell Bieniemy that so you get the ball. Would you please?
Yes. I'll keep that in the back of my mind. I'll make sure I run that by him in warm-ups.
Okay.
That's probably when his best mood during the warm-up, so I can probably slip it on him.
Okay.
Like,
how about this? And you do this or not? You score, you act like you're putting on a big hat. That way I know you're thinking of me, Brian.
Yep.
You score just like that sort of thing. I don't mean to mess with you. You do your thing because I need it. Okay, Brian? On Sunday.
I got you.
Okay.
I keep that on mind. Yeah.
Appreciate that. That's Brian Robinson Jr. What a pleasure to chat with you. Good luck to you against the Buffalo Bills and beyond. A member of the Washington Commanders and my fantasy team right here on the Rich Eisen Show. You take care, Brian Robinson Jr. What a delight.
It's awesome.
Let's go. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern for free.